I'm here with Lou Valentine from Holloway.
It's me.
How's it going, bro? Thanks for coming. I appreciate it.
I am great, and thank you so much for having me on. I know there was some timing things, and I really appreciate you accommodating me.
Nah, it's all good.
Yeah.
Shit happens. I understand. Now, first thing I want to start off by saying is listen to a lot of your music, and I wanted to see if I can guess the influences.
Oh, okay.
See if I can get
We're
them.
doing this,
Because
okay.
there's about 5 bands, I think.
Yeah.
But let's see if I get them right.
Okay, bonus points if they're from past like 2015.
Past 2015. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's tough. Okay. All right. I'll start with.
Nah, you're fine.
I'll start with The Cure.
Fuck yes, absolutely.
The
That's
Cure?
a good shout. Yes,
Okay, The Cure.
yes.
Metro Station.
Oh, shit! You're not going for the obvious ones.
Nah.
Yo,
Metro Station. No.
not an
Oh, yeah.
influence, but definitely a parallel like workflow. I reckon
Okay.
that like emo with pop with emo aesthetics. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is definitely on the more pop side. For that time was Cobra Starship.
Oh fuck yes, yes. Yeah,
You're a listener.
I am a listener. Yes,
Yeah,
I am a
yeah.
listener.
All right. See if I can get another one. My Chemical Romance is gonna
Yeah,
throw that in.
absolutely. Yeah, of course.
Throw that in.
Yeah.
And if I had to throw one more in, I'm trying to think of a recent one.
No, that's cool.
I
These have been good. These have been good. You
been
haven't
good so
said
far?
like Fall Out Boy yet, so.
No.
People always say like Fall Out Boy and Panic at the Disco. It's like no.
No,
Yes,
like,
but
yeah, Panic at the Disco is a funny one because it's like that first album is like quite, that emo. And I guess
Yeah,
maybe the
yeah.
second one, I'm quite bad at my Panic at the Disco. But then after that, it's like very just pop.
it's the Brendan Urie pop show.
Yeah, it's just pop.
Yeah,
Whereas
yeah.
like the first one, it's like, I remember the first time I heard Panic at the Disco, I literally just thought it was Fall Out Boy.
Yeah,
I was like,
they're similar, eh?
Right
They're
Sins
so
or Not
similar.
Tragedies. Is that
Yeah.
just Fall Out Boy?
Yeah.
And then I was
Yeah.
like, oh, different band. Why is it that? Oh,
Well, Pete Wentz signed them
Yeah,
to
he
his
did.
label.
Yeah.
And what I love about you saying Cobra Starship is that they're also on his label, but they're
Yeah,
like
that
the
was
less
signed by
obvious
them
pick.
too,
So
eh?
like, kudos.
Yeah. All right. If I give one more,
Yeah.
I don't want to say. Nah, that's too standard. I was gonna say Machine Gun Kelly, but that's a bit too standard.
Dude.
That's too standard because that's recent. But I'm pretty bad. Okay, let me throw out another one. That's.
I'm not talking about Machine Gun Kelly in this interview.
Nah,
I
that's
refuse.
fine.
I did one like a couple weeks ago.
You know,
and we
you don't-
talked
you-
about Machine
you-
Gun
you-
Kelly,
you-
and I'm
you-
not doing it.
You don't
I
need
refuse.
to. You don't need to, bro. You don't need to. And I suppose Grimes, but that's pre 2015 though.
Grimes.
You know,
not an influence.
not
but,
an
like,
influence?
and also like.
Just
a little dead to me
I
now
think it's
'cause
like
of the
that
whole
synth
Elon thing, but-
kind of look and that.
Yeah.
Like maybe that's why I think that. Because what's interesting about you, like with like you guys, you really capture that, for my opinion, that 2008 neon
yes.
emo
Yeah.
kind of look.
Yeah.
And I guess like the image is almost as important and big as the music. It's a massive part of it. You get
I
sucked
hope
in.
so.
Well, you get sucked in you get sucked in with the image, almost like with the music. Like it's like you need both. I don't
Dude,
know.
I'm counting on it because I fucking suck at playing guitar.
Nah, the guitar parts are all good. But you got a guitarist though, so
Yeah, man. Max is the guitar genius.
Yeah.
I'm just along for the ride. I like sometimes my amp like isn't on and I don't notice. It's awful. I can play power chords. I
Hey,
can
bro.
write songs.
I mean, that's most pop punk. So
Exactly. Yeah.
why do you need to learn anything else?
That's it. Like I send boring as fuck demos to Max.
Yeah.
And then he makes the guitar parts more
He
exciting.
jazzes them up. does a
I'll
little
literally
bit.
just play a power chord version, and then he'll be like, "What if you put this like actual interesting chord here instead of a C?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you do that. You have fun."
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's fun. So all right. So you've just moved up to Auckland. You're
Yeah.
saying before. Why Auckland from Wellington?
That is the question that's been ringing in my head all week.
Why the fuck did I come to the
I hate
show?
driving here. No, it's way too fucking hot as well. Oh my god.
It's been toasty recently. We didn't get a summer last year, man. We had floods.
really?
We had floods.
What? Oh, that's right.
We had
No,
floods, so
that's
now we
right.
get our summer, and now we're all complaining about it.
Yeah.
Now we're like, it's too hot. Oh, whereas last year
fair
we're like,
enough.
where's summer? Just can't make up our minds.
So Auckland, because we've been like, okay, we were in Wellington. We've been driving to Auckland like many times, like over the last 2 years, maybe like 8 times a year. We've just been driving up for shows and different
Yeah.
things. And it was getting ridiculous. Like that drive is so like
It's
second
8 hours
nature.
without stopping.
Yeah. It's so second nature to us now,
Yeah.
and we're just like, this is a lot of gas money. And like we'd play like a show, would be booked, and then we'd make some money off it, but then like most of it would just go into the petrol tank or like to ACOM. And we're like, if we lived here, we could actually do things like this. We're like, there's people here, right? So there's critical mass. There's more shit going on.
Yep.
This kind of thing included, like, we've done 2 interviews, including this one in Auckland in the last like couple of weeks. And like, there's just more going on, man. Like for emo music and like alternative culture, there's just so much more going on in Auckland.
Of course, yeah. I would say in post-COVID, actually, there's been a little bit of a revival for locally in Auckland. Because before, it went in a bit of waves. Like when I was in when I was a young boy, no, but when I was in high school, there was like the which was like late 2000s and that.
Yeah.
So there was like a lot of hardcore. That emo pop punk, like that was big, right?
Yeah.
Local bands like Zeal. You guys played at Zeal?
We did Zeal Wellington, but not
Zeal
not
Wellington,
Auckland.
right.
Yeah.
But that was like a scene in itself.
Yes.
Was Zeal.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of those bands, and then kind of like the mid 2010s, it all kind of just like tapered off, and then there's gigs, but it wasn't quite as like, how would I say, exciting, or people were like, there's bands on. But then COVID, everybody was like, yo, we might just be stuck inside, so let's go. So most of the local gigs I've been going to now, I've been saying on this podcast a little bit for the past few years. It's been pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because I've seen more people go, more shows sell out, even if it's like a 50 cap, still cool as shit.
Yeah.
Because before it would be like not many. So it kind of has like made a little comeback, which is nice to see.
It's so nice. And like, doing research for I put on this event called Crush Fest a couple years ago.
Cool.
And in researching for that, I was just looking for sort of genre aligned alternative bands. And I found so many. There are so many cool alternative bands in Auckland. Like,
oh, sweet.
Yeah. And like in Wellington, like there's lots, but like they're often like real heavy, or like they're not as in line with us. But
you guys have a lot of prog metal.
Yeah,
a lot of like progressive.
Dude, we
metal
have a lot
bands.
of metal in general, and that's cool. Like that's an awesome scene there. But like, we're always like the lightest band on the bill.
Yeah,
like and people.
You
are
look
just
like you might
fucking pop
you
band,
might have some breakdowns, but
yeah. Well, yeah.
you
Like
might, you might have a dance breakdown.
We
but
do
no.
like breakdowns.
Yeah, you got the choir breakdowns.
Yeah.
No, that's I think to try and divide, because in Auckland it's kind of funny as well, because before it was like rock scene, hardcore scene was like this. It was completely separated, and now it's like kind of come a little bit more together. Because I used to be in like a kind of like a melodic metal band.
Yeah.
And then that was also tricky because we had a lot of singing, we had a bit of screaming, a few songs that were heavy, but some of them were like very clean.
Right.
So we'd play bands with like death metal bands, and we're like, we are just too soft for this.
There's just like those dudes in the front, like refusing to dance.
And then we play like rock shows, and everyone's like, "Whoa, man, this is heavy," and we're just like, "Oh, I don't know."
Yeah.
But it was quite funny, like with that genre thing. But I feel like people now are a bit more like no one cares as much, I feel, anymore. Maybe some pure metalheads do out there.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's kind of chilled, because I do remember when I was in a band, like even high school and even after high school, there was still like, this is rock, this is metal.
Oh
this
people
is this.
fucking care so much, eh?
But I feel like that's chilled a bit.
Yeah, I'd like to think so.
I feel. Just when I go to gigs,
People who think that shit is important are like, they don't like music. They like being affiliated with.
Yeah, I think so.
label.
It's an image thing, I think. It's also like when I'm older, I'm like, do you have time to think about that?
Yeah, who fucking cares? Oh my god! Like, genre is by definition is just an adjective. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, yeah, it's a thing that's useful in describing music. It doesn't matter beyond that. Like, who cares, man?
Yeah. So why before Holloway, did you have another band or anything like that?
I had
or some solo music, because from the beginning, because you've been there from the very get go with the project. And was that sort of like a solo project turning to a band, or
so?
How did that happen?
I had a high school band, but I'm not going to talk about that.
That's fine.
What Holloway started as was me in a shitty, like, moldy, falling apart bedroom on Holloway Road in Arrow Valley.
That does sound like Wellington flat.
Yeah. the landlord said it was our responsibility to mop the mold off the ceiling.
Oh, get
That's
fucked.
kind of what we're looking at here. Anyway, this house was like falling down the hill, and I've been making music for ages, and I was just like, okay, I'm gonna just make an EP, and there's gonna be a few different sounds on it,
Sorry.
and then I'll look for a band to start playing live with. So I made this EP, and if you go back and listen to it, like it doesn't sound like what we do now. It's quite like bedroom alty. Like there's some kind of a range of influences on there. And basically after that I met Taylor, and Taylor was like, he had his, like, he was big into The Cure and 21 Pilots at this point.
Okay.
Both of whom were...
Keep forgetting about 21 Pilots.
Yeah.
That was a point in time.
That it really was. He was like fucking big into those bands when we got together. So we were like, okay, well, we're a two-piece band now. So let's do the two-piece band thing. And then started writing some music that had like a bit of a direction. And this was like the Prescription Cosmetics EP is what it would turn into. And yeah, so it was the whole like neon colorful thing kind of came from that, because we were like, what can we do to stand out at shows? That was what happened. And like, especially Battle of the Bands, like there were a lot of dudes in jeans and t-shirts, and we were like, what if we just wear like bright pink and like compensate for the fact that we're not very tight with just like absolute chaos on stage.
Yeah.
and then we did that for a while, and then Max joined, and then we started actually, like, he brought some actual like musicianship to the melody and chords. And yeah, that was just like the third pillar that we needed, because I'm not very like I can write lyrics, I can write songs, I'm not good on a technical level. So that's what Max brings.
That's cool. Yeah, it's good to have those compliments when you're in a band. Like I've had a band where there's too many cooks in the kitchen, which is a problem. And then you have a problem. I was in one progressive band, and we just, it was like, was it a band or was everyone doing their own solo instrumental?
Yeah.
and
I see bands like that.
That was a problem I had in one band, but it was a great experience to learn from. I remember once we had a producer come in, and he was just like, "Are you guys listening to each other?
Are you all listening to each other?" Yeah.
And it was like, it's quite, vocalist is like doing some crazy stuff. Everyone's like, blah, 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 and then there's like the drums, like, blah, 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 like, you know, bass is, it's like everyone's like, the fuck?
Yeah.
It's just weird, but it was like, it's like, oh yeah, like cohesive unit. That's right.
You're in your own little sonic cubicles. Like,
it just gets silly. So do you mind me asking how old you are?
I am. I could just keep this a secret from everyone.
All right.
No, I am 26 years old, 26. And I'm about to turn 27 next week on Valentine's Day. We just had this conversation. My middle name is Valentine. It's my real name.
Yeah, Lou Valentine, rockstar. That's dope. I was gonna ask you because like for me, I'm about to be 30. Fuck. Anyway, so like
feel that.
Yeah, I'll be all right. My back says otherwise though.
You'll be
But like, because I guess like, because so a few years ago, so I guess you're like that beginning of Gen Z generation, slightly millennial cusp or whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
But it's like, because like that music is like, I guess when I go back and like listen to it, I'm like, oh man, like some of this has not aged well. Some of it has.
Yeah.
But I guess
No,
like
right.
talking about age though is like, I guess you were at that point where you could like you were like a teenager just when this stuff was still popular.
I kind of missed the boat. Honestly,
you missed, because like for me, I remember it very well, and I listened to it, and people much younger than you actually, like 20, and then they will start bands, and they sound. I mean, it's kind of like, but then again, it's like when I was 16, I wanted to be like Green Day, and they've been around forever, so it's like, what the fuck's that mean? Or try and sound like Metallica or something. But it's just like interesting when people younger. I guess now I'm like looking at it through that lens. I'm like, this music connects, but it is from like, you know, it's interesting to watch. I guess like music I grew up with, and it still connects. Like I'm at that stage of my life now.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to put it. It's kind of like, I don't know, I just find it interesting.
When I was a teenager, I wished I was a teenager like 10 years before I was. Because
Sure.
I was into all of this music that was
I understand
hot
that.
like 10 years before, and like the early 2000s shit, and like that's
Sure.
what I really loved as a teenager. But then like I don't know. It's interesting to see how the cycle comes around, because it wasn't cool to like that music back then. And then now, unfortunately, because of you know who. We've got this revival of pop punk, and well, it's Travis Barker really.
It's Travis Barker.
We
Heaps of artists, like Kenny Hoopla, and there's like a bunch of others I can't remember.
Man, and all these TikTok kids like Jaden and Little Huddy, and like all these like
and the SoundCloud stuff, which is a weird,
that's kind of like
which is
amalgamated,
an interesting byproduct.
Yeah,
of then coming to where we are.
Because rap,
then got emo.
Was emo
for
a while.
Whatever.
Like emo just went like away.
Yeah,
like the rock stuff.
Yeah,
but rap, like Lil Peep and like X and like all these artists were suddenly like doing emo rap, and that was sort of where the culture went for a minute. And now it's coming back with guitars and shit. But like all these kids sort of have that like vocal delivery style.
Yeah,
there's like that little like subtle auto tune on it, and like it's pretty like there's a bit of kind of I don't know, hip hop ethic in it that is interesting. I think there's like 808s and shit with like distorted guitars. I love it, man. I'm here for it. I'm excited to see where it goes.
It's a cool like I guess digression, I guess, from what it was, but because I know why it died, because it just got fucking slammed down everyone's
throats. You can't
throats.
play pop punk forever. Like,
but that's what happened at that kind of end of the era. Like it just got shoved down everybody's throat, and then I think it didn't survive. I talked with like the guys from Finger Tight on here as well. We had a big chat about it, which is
I love those guys.
Basically, like the gatekeeping went out of control. Like in terms of the like metal alternative music, and then it just I think it just got too saturated. Too many bands did the exact same thing. Like one of my favorite ones is the Rise Records core. Like,
oh really?
Fuck me. Have you heard? Do you know about the record label Rise Records?
Yes, I've heard of them.
You know the band Attack Attack?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, okay, gotcha.
Think of Attack Attack and then clone them 100 times, because that's what happened.
It's like pop punk with like screaming and heavy shit involved, right?
Way more auto. No, I mean that was way different. It was like auto-tune the clean vocals to be like T-Pain level of auto-tune. That was never done before.
Yeah.
And then have like proper chuggy screaming death metal breakdowns.
Yeah.
And then crazy synth, but then also have like a dance synth break. Like it hadn't really been done. It was called like crabcore and shit, 'cause everyone would do that.
Yes.
It's funny shit.
Yeah.
But the Rise Records stuff, like they came along and everyone was like, what the fuck? It's funny because people like them now. But back then they were like, what the fuck is this shit? And then like it obviously did quite well. So then like another 100 bands did the same thing.
Yes.
And then that kind of is what happened with a lot of that music. And then I think it was like, copy paste. That's kind of what happened with rap as well. I feel like now rap is kind of in a weird spot where it's like, again, copy paste. Like, this works. Let's like saturate this market to fuck. And then now we're running out of ideas.
Yeah.
So now alternative's cool. It's like, because there's a point with like, I'd probably say, I don't know, maybe post 2013, where the alternative music kind of went down a bit, and then there's a generation now who haven't heard much of it. Yeah. So now it's like, this is fresh. Like Olivia Rodrigo, huge.
Yeah, man.
Huge.
Yeah.
But the music she writes is like, I know what this is. Like, this sounds familiar.
I've heard, like, literally,
I've heard
Paramore has rights on one of her songs.
Yeah. That's a Good For You song. Yeah. But I'm like, I guess the younger generation like it so much because there wasn't.
It fucks. It's good.
It's good, but there wasn't that when they, I guess, maybe in formative years. Like they probably, they just like listen to Foo Fighters if it was rock, and like, that's my parents' music or something.
Yeah.
But then it's like, we got our own rock artists now. Like,
so
I don't know. That's my weird brain
like,
making parallels.
Yeah. No, you're totally onto something, and like I reckon as much as we struggle with the fact that like so much has been done in rock, and like we're struggling to see and create like new directions musically, rock stars will be around forever. Like the aesthetics and the ethic and the like the guitar drums bass vocals format is just so persuasive.
There's so much in that already.
It's just like no matter what happens, that shit is always going to be around. Like I'm not convinced. Like there was like Skrillex and stuff where there was like guys who were like just like DJs or just on controllers or just on keyboards and stuff, and like there's a place for that, but like the 3-piece rock band is going nowhere. No.
But also now, because you can do all like the backing tracks and stuff. Oh yeah, I should have turned my phone off as well. My phone's also buzzing. Let's put that on flight mode. There we go. All right. Also in your music, you got some dubstep in there. I noticed. You just threw in a little bit of the wobs.
We're trying to just piss people off at this point. Like this, like pretty much.
I just haven't heard anybody do that in like 10 years. That's
Yeah,
probably,
yeah.
that's why when I heard it, I was just like, is that
The
dubstep?
dubstep bass, yeah. Well, I mean, we don't have a bassist, so like we basically just have like free reign on what happens with the bass, and like that was like in the demo. I
Good
was
old
like,
iPad, eh?
yeah. Why don't it was Date of My Friends, right? I was just like,
that song, yeah.
for that final like kind of fast lyric delivery, but I was like, fuck, what if we just put like a Skrillex bass under this? And our producer was like, Jake, he's a rock guy, he likes rock music. He was like, no, I have the sound here. We're like, yes, this fucks.
Because you also, because like you do like the rapping as well. You got a really nice falsetto, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
But you got a lot of like rapping in there as well. You do like this kind of like.
I hesitate to call it rapping because I'm just so not in that culture. Like I wouldn't consider myself
Speaking words quickly.
Yeah, it's just fun. Like I'm always singing it. It's never atonal, so I wouldn't consider myself like of that ilk. Like I'm not as good. Like I can't formulate bars as well as someone who's actually in that genre. But I like to sort of dip my toes.
Try it. Keep it interesting. No, it's good. Like I it keeps it like rather than just kind of doing like it's good for the listener. I think
for sure
keep it interesting.
And I'm such a lyric person.
And then you might come later on and be like, oh, you know what? We can maybe do a little bit more with that. You put these little nuggets in your music, and then you can kind of be like, oh, that dubstep bit. Let's just make it like a song that does shit like that.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
That's what I like about bands when they're like the first album, like there's a sound, but they dabble in like little bits of like sonic instrumental. And you're like, oh, they might do that later.
Yeah, exactly. You know? Like
I'm a sucker for those production nuggets.
yes. It's my favorite part, man. Like I'm the one who does the synth stuff and like the kind of icing on the cake, I guess. Like as far as production and like with production, with lyrics, like I really want people to come back to it. Like you listen to it once and it's like, whoa, what did they say? Or like what, like the heaps going on in a section, and it's like I want it to bear multiple listens, if you know what I mean.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I was listening to that song Crush you guys have got.
Yeah.
God damn, man.
It's a good song.
That hit me a bit. For sure.
Oh, really?
It literally took me back to being like 16 because it like knocking on the door of the Crush, and I was like, God damn.
Yeah, honestly,
take me to the back door. I'm like, nah, bro, stop that shit.
It's shameless nostalgia bait, and
that was
and I'm not sorry.
That was absolute shameless nostalgia bait.
Yeah,
but I was like, oh wow, yeah. But it just captures that moment in time like so well. Well, for me it did. So I was like, that's cool. I like the guitar. The guitar tone's
glad,
really
man.
the guitar tone that's really pretty as well.
We just wanted the saturated like vampy eyeliner, like midnight kind of driving.
Yeah.
I don't know, like Twilight, but less Twilight, if you know what I mean.
Less Twilight.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I walked out of that film at the time.
Did you really?
It was the New Moon film, and it was so funny, man.
Oh, right.
I hadn't read the books.
Oh, okay.
So I
didn't know what the fuck was going on.
My mate and I, we were like, I don't know why, but we were like, oh, let's just go watch Twilight New Moon. And we went and watched it, and I was like, this is fucking awful. But I'm not the audience. Yeah. And it's not really my thing. I'm not a big, I'm a Star Wars space guy.
Yeah, fair
I'm
enough.
not a fantasy like werewolf. I know that like people are, that's cool. But over the time I was just like, nah. And then it's like so it was like so sexualized with like Taylor Lautner and stuff.
Yeah.
And then Kirsten Stewart, I know that was the point of her acting, but I'm just like, this is just bad.
Yeah, the story was
but
not
I haven't
there.
watched it since, so maybe I'll watch it now and it'll be like nostalgia. Like, oh,
I reckon the first one. Just watch the first one.
First one?
The first, like it's
all right.
It's a bit like cheesy, but like I'm so here for the aesthetics of Twilight. The story, like take it or leave it, but like the aesthetics and the soundtrack and the cultural zeitgeist that it brought in. Like vampires are sexy now, but I love that.
Yeah, well, there was that whole like Vampire Diaries, and then there was like, what was the other one? True Blood. It was like all at the same time with Twilight.
Yeah.
So there was like, oh, vampires.
And it started this young adult like wave, which I'm so like shamelessly into. Like the Hunger Games movies, they are good movies. I'll die on this hill.
I haven't even watched them.
They actually are good. Like
I haven't watched them.
Yeah.
All right, I'll have to watch that. I have to watch the first one. I have to check it out.
Yeah,
I have to check it out.
it.
I missed that
Hunger
at the
Games.
time. I can't remember why. Because everyone's like, Jennifer Lawrence is hot and it's mean. And I was just like, oh. I just didn't get around to it. But I watched New Moon, so.
Yeah. Well, nice.
Didn't even bring a lady friend to that. That was just
Just you.
just me and the boy. No, it wasn't just me.
Respect going to see Twilight with the boys.
It was, yeah. But yeah, it was funny. I haven't walked out of many movies, but that was one of them. I mean, the other one I walked out of was The Karate Kid. That's another one I walked.
The new one,
the remake with Jaden Smith.
Shit, yeah.
I walked. Have you seen that?
Ages ago.
Yeah,
like,
it's a while ago. Yeah, but I remember watching that
wasn't
and just being like, "This is bad."
If you're trying to remake like Karate Kid, like, come on, like you got to do it well.
No, it was.
You can't just do a less good version. Like,
it was kind of shit. So I left that. I left that. But
Fair
yeah,
enough.
man, you got the nostalgia bait going, bro.
Yeah.
Ride the wave. Make that money from us millennials.
Yeah,
Just
I feel
drain
weird
us.
about it. I don't want to like be that like throwback band. Like, I want to bring our sound into the future, and I reckon our next few songs are gonna be more like forward facing, like less pop punk inspired. Like, so yeah, that's gonna be exciting. But yeah, like, no, I'll fucking nostalgia bait you without any regrets.
No, there was a great channel that talked about like, what was it, like the what's that guy, like emo might delete, what's his name, Matt.
The Facebook guy.
No, not the Facebook guy, but like Matt, is it Cunshaw? And then he makes those like
when his girlfriend's trying to get in the car or something.
Yeah, like felt cute might delete later, but like emo might delete later
Yeah.
or whatever. And he like blew up, right? But
Yeah.
he's like did like the emo cruise and then brought all these bands on.
Yeah.
And then someone reviewed it and being like, man, you can just sell millennials anything that's about nostalgia.
Yeah,
And I just
absolutely.
like laughed and I was like, yeah, you're not wrong. But I looked at it and I was like, yeah, like it's crazy how like you can really make money off doing shit. But I mean, who hasn't done it? People have done it with the 80s stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, bands and like there was a weird point where like there was a bunch of like glam bands that kind of came back a bit, like in the Darkness, the Darkness.
Yeah.
And then there's like the parody one, like Steel Panther, and they're awesome. They're funny as fuck.
Yeah.
And there's a few others I can't remember right now, but even like Arsene Alexandria dipped their toes into that glam
Oh, really?
world. They started doing like glam ballad rock.
Yeah.
And like it just did really well, but then it's sort of like they do that, like it's again nostalgia. Like you sound like Def Leppard or Motley Crue from the 80s,
Yeah.
and then you get all these like 40-year-olds like, yeah, it's just like because they sound like your favorite band from from whatever,
Yeah.
right? But it's like there's nothing wrong. It's just interesting how powerful
It totally is.
nostalgia
It
bait,
totally is.
bait is. Whether or not that music's good, like something else I like to look at is some of the pop music that came out in like the early 2010s.
See, this is
and
what
that.
I'm interested in because I'm such a pop enjoyer.
Yeah, so like some of the stuff that age I thought like it's funny now, but at the time I hated it was like was it like a G6 and shit like that?
Yeah.
Like at the
Yeah.
time I was like, this is the worst thing that's ever been written.
Fucking Kesha.
And
That's
Kesha,
that kind of sound.
yeah, lots of that. But now I listen to it like, oh, this is fun. I'm like, oh, this is what time does. Is this
Yeah.
what time does to music?
Yeah.
But also I'm not 6, teenager anymore. So it's like, like music defines my personality to such a T.
Yeah.
But at the time it did. Because I was a rock metal guy and like I enjoyed, I was listening to like all kinds of rock shit. So
And like the 2010s, like it was just like cool to shit
was-
on like
yeah.
Like Nicki Minaj came out, it's like, oh yeah, like she's gonna be around for 5 seconds.
she lasted a while. Wow.
She
But then she got replaced by Cardi B. And they literally sang
I
about
don't
the
know,
same,
man. I reckon,
they
like-
sing about the same thing.
yeah. But like fuck, man, like
I got a big ass and I like to fuck. It's like, all right, mean.
yeah. But it rips though.
Well, it's like what's that? Just stripper dance music. I call it.
Yeah, it's
There's a
fucking
place, of course,
awesome,
there's
and
a-
she's like still one of the most like successful artists in the world. Like the rock dudes in 2010 had no idea where she was going.
No, well, it's interesting what survived. Like I thought Taylor Swift's that's like a study. I talk about her all the time on this
Oh,
podcast,
really?
but
Yeah.
with good reason because I remember she first came out in 2006, bro. It's crazy that people
Yeah.
in school still think she's cool now. Like, bro, it's like almost 20 years ago.
That into the microphone. Yeah, no, she's. I mean, she's. My cynical side is like, oh, she's too big to fail. But like, no, she's
the number
evolved,
one,
man.
number one most streamed artist on Spotify.
Yeah.
Number one.
Yeah, like
That's a lot of
we
streams.
we could do worse, right?
It could
Like
be.
of
It
all
could
the
be.
artists
Yeah.
that
It
could
could
just be a massive
it-
juggernaut, like the
could
only
be.
thing you hear.
It could be worse.
It
But like
could
even
be
like
way
Ed
worse.
Sheeran survived. That's another interesting one.
He's like
But there's a few of those like that have like as Drake's. He survived. He survived.
Drake. You reckon?
I reckon. Well, he's still in the conversation.
I guess so. I reckon Kendrick was just the death of Drake. Hey, like everyone was like,
Kendrick is a million times better. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, I don't hear his name as much anymore.
No,
But I hear the Drake name, and I'm like, really? Do we have to? Really? Again, not a big fan.
Oh, really, of Drake?
Nah,
Yeah,
never.
neither,
I've
actually.
never. Like, I'm not a rap. I'm not a big rap guy, but
Right.
I liked Kendrick. So it was very musical.
dude.
But then Drake,
Kendrick-
I'm just like, I've heard this before. Like, and then it got really big, and I was like,
yeah, and he kind of rides
okay.
the memes too much.
Yeah,
like he's
it's-
kind of
It's
he's
like
desperate to stay relevant.
it's like pop rap went too far.
yeah.
I don't know how else to describe it.
It feels a bit desperate now or something. Like
I'm an opinionated bastard as well.
yeah,
so-
same. It's fine. That's why we're here, right? That's why we're
Of course,
bros talking into microphones.
Yeah.
In a room alone. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
That's what I. Yeah, literally.
No, but like I'm so here for like I only really listen to like pop music, and like good pop music with good lyrics and good production is just like so amazing. Like I reckon the moment I went over the threshold from being like I only like Green Day, I only like guitar bands,
Yeah.
into like actually fuck that, I'm okay with saying I like pop.
What was the band that changed your mind?
It was Pure Hero and Lord.
Oh,
That record.
that's an interesting one. Okay.
Like
okay.
I started out like because it was cool to shit on it, obviously, because it was the new thing. And it's like, oh, Royals, like, oh, it's overplayed, and yeah, it was. But also like, I just liked it, and there was no hiding from it. I was just like, fuck, this album rips.
It's a good song.
This
It's a
album
good
rips.
album.
And then I found out that it was produced by fucking Joel Little, who
Yeah.
of Goodnight Nurse.
Yeah.
Not fame, but of Goodnight Nurse.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
And I'd been listening to them for fucking ever, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh my god.
I was gonna say that. Did you listen to much like Goodnight Nurse, Cut Off Your Hands, and those sorts of guys?
Goodnight Nurse I got showed by my cousin when I was real young. And
Yeah.
along with it was on an MP3 player. It was like my only Goodnight Nurse, like Face Down, Red Jumpsuit Apparatus,
Yo.
and Holiday, Green Day. Like he had those three songs.
Yeah. That's all you need.
It changed
and
my
that's all.
fucking
That's all.
life.
That's all that would fit on the MP3.
Yeah,
player.
yeah. That changed my fucking life.
You know the biggest lie that iPod Nano sold us, like back then, was that you can do 1,000 songs on there. Rubbish.
Oh.
You could only fit like a few hundred unless you compress them to fuck.
Yeah.
And then they sound like shit. But anyway.
Yeah.
Fucking Apple lying once again.
Oh,
but,
dude.
But,
those
but
are the
anyway.
days. Those are the days. I had such a carefully curated fucking iTunes library.
So did I. It was
I
very,
love that shit.
But then eventually I just get, because it was just like, it's kind of bad, but like hard drives of just music and you just get given like 1,000 songs.
Oh, it doesn't make sense anymore, but I loved
No.
it. I love getting the album art and like putting it in and like making sure everything was labeled nicely
And organized and like color coded.
metadata. Yeah, all that shit. Like I missed that, and then Spotify came along. And it's like,
Well,
oh,
it's basically like a digital, like, you know, not vinyl collection. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like
No,
how you
it
like
is, it
artwork and then how you
And if you're-
alphabetical artists.
yeah.
And,
And if you're the
doing
one who actually gives a fuck to
Yeah.
curate it and like organize it, then people are gonna be like, oh, well, can I just have yours? And it's
Yeah.
like, yes, I'll burn you a CD. Do
yeah.
you remember those iTunes CDs that you could like put 10 songs on a disc and then the iTunes would like make the insert for you?
Fuck, I missed this.
Like a mosaic of the album arts on the, and you could be like print album, and it
print
would like have
print
a
the
track
album
list.
artwork from the CD cover.
Yeah,
Oh,
it would
shit.
take all of the covers.
I missed this.
Make a track list and then
Yeah,
like
yeah.
put a mosaic. It was sick. It was really cool. So I'd give those to my friends for their birthday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I missed that.
Damn.
Now it's like-
I missed that. I burned CDs, but I didn't. Oh, I didn't know. That's something I didn't realize at the time.
It was
either.
so fun, dude. It was good.
Damn.
Yeah, you can't really do that anymore. It's like, oh yeah, I made you a playlist. It's like, oh, thanks.
Yeah. It's just like a Spotify
So did
playlist.
Spotify. Spotify makes me 5 playlists a day. Like,
Yeah. Why are you different? Yeah.
yeah.
But that's so like it is kind of weird how music has gotten to like so commoditized, with streaming. Like it's
This
just
is an
it's-
interesting conversation because
But it has like it's just like I think about that a lot. Like because like don't get me wrong, like we had obviously LimeWire and then there was like
I was
fucking
on that,
all
yeah.
all that stuff, and then iTunes is streaming, but it was LimeWire. You're gonna fuck your computer up, and then like it takes ages. It was difficult. It's difficult.
oh, it wasn't convenient at
And
all.
like nothing digital was that. It was convenient to have it on your computer, but to get it there, it was like you'd have CDs.
It's convenient
or,
to have it for free, but like at
I
what cost?
I said, I think I said this last time. I blame the music industry because they made CDs too expensive.
yeah, man.
And
oh yeah.
and iTunes just made albums like $20.
Like,
And
it was
it's
like
just
it was the same with gaming for a while. It's like the
Yeah.
pirates have a better service than the
Yeah.
fucking companies. Like
Yeah.
what do you think's gonna happen?
Yeah, I blame the music. They get fucking greedy.
Yeah.
And then now it's like, oh, what happens now? And it's just like, well, now they own streaming, and now it's like worse than
Well, now
before.
it's a fucking wasteland. But like, I
Yeah.
reckon it's trendy now to complain about Spotify and be like,
It's very cool to
"Well,
complain about streaming.
Yeah, like I would be making money if only Spotify didn't pay us like 2 cents per song. It's like,
Yeah. But it's funny. 'cause
would
that-
you though?
But that conversation was done like 10 years ago.
Yeah,
It's a very old conversation. It's
It
like,
is.
It's like, it's to me, I'm
people
just like,
still bring it up all the time. Like,
Yeah.
oh, like Spotify ruined the music. It's like I could
Mm.
right now tell you the name of my band, and you could have it playing within 10 seconds. Like you couldn't
yeah.
do that before.
no.
And the
Well, you could,
accessibility.
it's just the MP3 is pretty bad.
Yeah. Well, if you didn't have the MP3, you're
Yeah,
fucked.
yeah.
Like you jump on your data, you have access to all the music, and the accessibility
Yeah, on the data
of
part,
that
yeah, for sure.
is like insane. But I driving to Auckland, a guy got in my car and he was hitchhiking with me, and he was like, "Oh, what are you
Oh,
doing?"
damn, you're alive. Well done.
Yeah. But like, he was really nice. He was from California, and I was like, "Yeah, my band's called Holloway," and he just like started playing it, and I was like, 20 years ago, that would not have happened.
No.
You just couldn't
bro.
do that.
Like trading CDs.
I'd have to be like, "Oh yeah, like here's a fucking CD or like a hard drive or like nah." It's and like the if you know how to leverage it, the accessibility to your music is just insane.
yeah.
And as long as you're creative enough to not rely on Spotify as a revenue stream, which like I fucking hope you don't.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Well, yeah, it's like that's the thing about a musician. You gotta be an entrepreneur with how you think about.
Yeah.
Like if
You have to get all the different revenue streams,
yeah,
and
you gotta get all of them.
Be making
you gotta
all of
you gotta
happen
make
at
them
once.
work together.
Yeah.
The merchandise, the content. I hate talking about content on here, but fuck, it's a big part.
Content.
Content all day, every day.
Yeah.
And then merchandise to then shows to then like. And then print vinyls
Patreon,
if you want.
OnlyFans,
Patreon, OnlyFans. Well, you could. Who does that? Who's that guy who does it from what's that metal band called? Fuck.
OnlyFans.
Yeah, what's his name?
Oh fuck.
He's from this real like heavy deathcore band, Attila.
Oh really?
Yeah, the Franz. That's it. He does OnlyFans.
Yo, we've all thought about it.
We have. I do a podcast. I'm like, is the next step OnlyFans? Well, that's
Yeah.
what we actually called the podcast of. We were just like, fuck, only, because it was called Only Scots because there was two of us. And we're like, I was like, lol. And I'm like, let's just do that. And now it's Only Scott, it's just me. But I'm just
cool.
like, next
I
step
didn't know that
is
was-
porn.
yeah. Well, I'm thinking of making like
Is that how
a
it
Holloway
goes? Am I gonna sell my feet? Like, what's it like? You know,
well, you don't have
my
to make it porn. Like,
toes?
just be on OnlyFans. Like, I reckon that would be a gimmick in and of itself. Like, I've thought about this for Holloway. Like,
AI porn of yourself.
yeah, okay.
You know,
like deep fakes.
deep fakes.
At that point,
You know, we got to start mixing it up. Like, you know, what's it? The AI. It's crazy. The AI influencers on OnlyFans. I think I don't know if this is true, but I heard that an OnlyFan porn star. It was like AI, like one of the most watched or streamed one. It was AI. It's not even real.
Wow.
And they're like, and I'm just like, fuck, we are literally entering like,
This is the fucking
iRobot.
future. You are
Like,
jacking off to like
AI.
Yeah.
And even like my mate showed me he showed me like this video of this chick dancing.
Yeah.
And it was like, she had like 100,000 followers on Instagram and it was AI. It was like a girl, it's like one of those like TikTok, but looking sexy and provocative and stuff, but it's like AI. And I was like, wow, I can just tell it's AI, like some of like the video, but it was you have to really look in the background. But I was like, how close are we until I have no idea?
we're like a couple of years off just not being able to tell, I reckon.
Yeah.
I don't even know what I think about it. I couldn't even form an opinion on it. I'm just
it's tricky because I'm in two mindsets about it with like, because I use it, AI like ChatGPT and shit for work.
Yeah.
Helps with ideas.
It's amazing.
And getting things going. And
you
then,
could get an undergraduate degree with ChatGPT.
Yeah. And
like,
Mid Journey. You ever use Mid Journey?
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's amazing.
I recently got the full version. Amazing.
Yeah.
But then obviously you got this next like anything, there's like the repercussions of having something like that.
Totally.
And that's kind of like, I mean, AI porn's a funny one, but like that's a version of like, I can't tell. It's also
what's happening with music as well.
Music, like, yeah, I guess that'll get to that point at some point. And then the other one is media, like news. That's the other one. Is people like have made deep fakes with like cars on fire, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And how easy it is now sort of AI to generate those sorts of videos and like fake news coverage.
Yeah.
I've seen a few of those and I'm like,
that's fucking terrifying.
but that's what we're going to.
Yeah. Yeah. Like,
what is reality? It's going to be Ready Player One soon. Like, what the fuck are we going into?
Yeah.
Great movie, but it's also like a bit real.
Oh, man. Like, it's.
But that's why live music, it's like, where else do you get honesty?
Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah. Live music is is special, and I reckon like that 3-piece rock band thing, like no one is ever going to get sick of watching a 3-piece rock band.
Yeah, but where else also, like with live music, are you going to connect anymore? That's the other thing. Religion's in the West, like the religion's not really a big thing. Yes, we got churches, but it's not on like a mass.
Shit's
like,
on the decline.
Like I think I looked at a statistic. I was interested about like religions around the world and how many people are what. And like New Zealand, I think was 30 or 40% of the population was Christian, and like 60% don't define with a religion.
Oh, really? Wait, 60-40?
Well, sorry. So like the 10% was like other religion, I think, and then like 30% was like if you ask them, are you a Christian? They say yes.
Yeah.
And then the 60% are like they'll say, I don't have a religion. Yeah. So that's the point in New Zealand. But then, like, I looked at some other ones, like South Korea. That was crazy. That was like 90% of people don't have a religion.
Wow.
And then China, well, I think a religion's illegal, so there's that.
Oh yeah. Well.
So, but it's like, okay, without religion, which is where you go to community, you meet people traditionally.
Yeah.
Where else do you go to interact? Music, live show, unless you get drunk at a bar. Okay. Maybe.
No. Unless and fuck, man, so much culture centers around alcohol. Like we came up. When we first started getting a bit of traction.
You played in bars, right? Yeah.
Like, no, we were playing all ages shows.
Oh, yeah.
And it was crazy how much of the music scene and music industry and just like live music in general revolves around alcohol.
Yep, massively.
Like, but if you're not 18, you can't go to a fucking show.
Yeah, that's why the Zeal gigs back in like all
that's
ages.
why they went off.
Yeah.
And now there's just none of those venues left. Like,
Big Fan does it. Just up the road.
Yeah.
They do. But yes, you're right. It's not as big as it should be.
Exactly.
There should be more of it.
Yeah.
And that's why local bands can play. And it's like, well, just play somewhere. But that's also the wristband thing, which Big Fan does, is you can actually sell alcohol and then
drink if you have
a wristband.
Yeah, exactly. That's cool.
But that should have been happening for ages. But
there are good ones like the Cabana in Napier.
I played there once. Awesome venue.
Yeah,
loved it.
Why can't we have it somewhere where people actually go to shows?
That got me back. That was such a good venue, bro.
Yeah.
But it should be more of that.
That whole wristband to have alcohol thing, like that's a good way around it. But I think that license is quite hard to get.
Yeah, I imagine it would.
And like, if you just want to go see like a mid-level band that isn't Spark Arena or whatever, like you just can't if you're under 18, and it sucks.
Yeah, and I agree. It is centered around a lot around alcohol. You're right. Like a gym, like even like the band members who like people drink a lot and play. Or whatever. I hate playing drunk. I played drunk like a few times.
Oh,
and it was always. I think the last time I got really drunk at a show was when I was in a covers band, and I was getting really over it. Being in a covers band.
Yeah.
And I was playing at a bar, the Whiskey in Ponsonby. It's a very small, tight bar.
Yeah.
And I was just really over it. And everyone else is drunk and loud and annoying, and you're playing covers and you're getting yelled at. And I was just like, I'm fucking. And then the bartenders, it was fun. They kept giving me shots and stuff, but I lost count of how much I've been drinking.
Yeah.
And then at one point, I am just fucking so toasted. I'm just like, I don't care what the fuck I'm doing now.
Man.
And then I was like. Oh, it's not good, Scott.
Yeah, especially if people are fucking paying to be there. Like you can't.
They weren't paying to be there.
Oh right,
but it's just a bar cover band.
Sometimes
shit.
you can be a bit like fuck it if it's not like a bit important show. But if people are buying tickets to see you,
I'm such a fuss pot though with my own personal. Originals, absolutely not. But I'm such a fuss pot myself with performance that I just
good.
I got to a point though when I was in the cover band. I'm like, I think I just need to leave.
Yeah.
If I'm starting to enjoy it a bit, only if I'm getting smashed. It's I think we're gonna call it quits.
That's fair enough. Yeah.
Which was an interesting experience, but it felt like a job. Originals music for me has never felt like a job. Apart from content. I was
gonna say, like every Holloway show, no matter how big or small, feels like the fucking Super Bowl.
This is a big deal.
Like, I go through like stages before the show.
Do you have any like pre-show rituals or anything you do?
I basically just get really fucking anxious and my mental health goes all over the place.
Roller coaster.
During the day, like Taylor has documented my stages of show preparedness. Like during the day, I want to go to sleep, and then I get all fucking hung up around sound check times, making sure everything's fine.
Yeah.
And then before we go on stage, I'm kind of a bit serene. And then right before, I get like, oh my god, like, and then I do the show.
I never had anxiety. I remember like I just be like
so anxious, dude.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people do. For me, I would like forget. I'd be like, oh yeah, I watch opening bands play. And I think after I rehearse, I forget. And when I get on stage, I'm just like, I have to play a show.
Yeah, I got to do that now.
But like for like the period of time, even like grabbing my guitar on stage, everyone's like, yeah. And then I just look out and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta
yes.
play a show. And then like it's really weird, like in real time. You know, you're in the moment of doing a show. It's quite a weird experience.
Oh, it's
like,
elevated. It's almost like you're in a parallel dimension.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's very odd.
It's strange. It's quite strange. Like
no matter how big or
it,
small the show is, right?
Yeah.
Like you kind of are like in this almost sort of parallel bubble where it's like, oh, I don't know how to describe it. It's
no, I don't either. It's weird. Like I've played a lot of types of shows and that, and like my favorite ones are always the dirty ones. Like I used to play in a metal band, like Circle Pits, going crazy and shit. That was a good time.
Yeah.
Love that stuff. But it was I remember like they get like on a certain stage, and then everyone's like there, like you know doing that.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh yeah. I'm gonna have to entertain some people, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, but because if you're practicing for ages or you're recording, you're not really you're not in front of anybody.
Yeah, no.
It's just your band, yourself, and maybe the producer.
Nothing
and
can
that's
prepare you for that feeling.
Yeah, it's buzzy, but it's amazing. It's addicting. It's
totally
it's
is.
very addicting, which I do
is.
miss about the original music stuff for sure. Like
Yeah,
not playing
man.
as much anymore.
Oh, you should see like when a good Holloway show goes off, it's like people doing like circle pits to like shitty pop music. It's so
That's
good.
fun.
It's
That's fun.
so good.
Yeah, I can imagine your shows would be like very colorful for one. I mean,
Yes.
Do you guys get the neons? Get like the ring lights?
absolutely.
And, yeah, you should.
And the people that come are just the most diverse,
Colourful.
crazy motherfuckers.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
You'd get a very yeah. I can imagine it'd be a very. What's the age range like? If you don't mind me asking.
We
Even all ages shows.
I'd just say like 15 to 30. If there was no like R18 factor involved, like we get like they're fairly young, like queer, neurodivergent, like we meet so many cool people, like and they've all just like impeccable sense of style.
Yeah.
Like and like yeah, an archetypal Holloway crowd looks insane. It looks like a set of a music video.
Yeah, I bet it'd be very colorful.
Yeah. Like dyed hair, like just like piercings, tattoos, jewelry, like neon rainbow shit. Like it's awesome.
That's fun.
Yeah, I fucking love our shows. I love it so much.
Yeah, it's like a fashion expo. Almost,
Absolutely, yeah. And
gotta be
they're
on
all
point.
just like really fucking attractive. Like everyone's just like dressed up and they look amazing. And yeah, it's good. It's good.
Cool.
I better go soon.
Oh yeah, what's the time? Sorry, you gotta. Oh shit, yeah, you're right. Well, I generally do a quick fire thing, but if you, I understand you.
No. We'll wrap up and no hurry. It's not a long drive from here, right?
No. So at this time, driving into the city from here is pretty good.
Yeah.
Driving out from the city is not good.
No. All good.
Is right. I'll do a quick one. All right, let's just go quickly. Okay.
Yes.
Let's start with favorite piece of music gear you own.
Fuck. My Boss DS1.
DS1.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. We'll go with that. We'll go
I'm
with that.
try and annoy people now.
Wait, hold on. For my knowledge, I can't remember Boss DS1. That's
just the most shitty distortion.
Distortion pedal. Oh, it's not a metal zone. You're right. that was the memes are.
Yeah.
All right. Hardest part about starting a band.
Finding people that you actually like and actually like playing the music that you vibe with. Finding and staying
That's a great way to
with
summarize
those
it.
people. Like if they're like an average musician but they fuse with you on a soul level, that's your band member. Do not get rid of that person. Yeah.
Weirdest fan experience. You got any weird fan experiences?
Weirdest fan experience.
Something strange. Something you're like, oh, that's what the fuck.
Yes. What have we had? I mean, we've signed like everything, like shoes and like
Nipples.
yeah. Oh yeah. And
Male and female, I imagine.
yeah. And it's been like, okay, how old are you first?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I guess you gotta do that, eh? Like,
Oh, yeah, man.
that'd be fucking weird. I guess I've never played, apart from when I was a teenager. I've never played to people under the age of 18 in a very long time.
yeah, I had one guy steal the mic off me once, and
yeah.
he wouldn't give it back. It was Anthology Lounge, K Road.
Can't
It was one of our shittest shows, and he stole the microphone, and he was wasted. And I was just like, I don't want to fight you for this mic right now, dude. Just fucking give it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
There you go.
Those are good ones. Those are good
Yeah.
ones. Favorite band member? I like asking that one.
It's Vikram,
Vikram.
our dead bassist. Yeah. Yeah.
iPad. Yeah.
Yeah. He's a skeleton.
Yeah. Favorite band you're listening to at the moment, or something that's constantly in your in your ears at the moment.
Okay. I'm gonna find it hard to choose, but the new Girl in Red song is really good.
Girl in Red. I don't know them. Okay.
And Stand Atlantic and Bring Me the Horizon. I've been just like blasting those two bands.
Bring Me is always good.
Yeah.
I'm
Can't
a
go
fan
wrong.
too.
Sempiternal. I've just been putting that on in the car.
Goated.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
Yes.
All right, sweet. All right, man. We'll probably just leave that there for the quick fires. Before we go,
Sweet.
anything you want to promote about the band going on at the moment? Got some releases, some shows, some new bits and bobs.
Okay, so we've got a 22nd of March. We've got a song coming out.
Sweet.
And you heard it here first. People
22nd of
know
March.
our song.
Woo!
People know the song's coming, but 22nd of March, that's the date. It's called If What I Think Is Happening, It Better Not Be. And it's a fucking awesome song. It's a bit more punky than our last two, and it's fast and it's sick, and it's people you're gonna fucking love it.
Oh, thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate it, and good luck with the Auckland scene.
Thank you so much, man.
Awesome.
Thank you for having me. This has been amazing.
Of course. All right. Thank you everybody for listening. All right. Bye.